All right, you guys, it's time for me to review Forza Horizon 4. I've been playing it incessantly on the Xbox One, on the X. I played it a little bit yesterday in our stream. Played it all night last night. I actually fell asleep playing the game. I was racing and driving into the trees and stuff, not because the game was boring, but because I played it too late and too much of it. This is an absolutely outstanding and gorgeous racing experience. I thought Forza Horizon 3 was just, it was my favorite game of that year, 2016. Blade Blur corrected me yesterday, or told me that, reminded me that that was such an exceptional experience, and it was. And obviously, the folks at Playground Games had a lot to kind of live up to and a lot to work off of, and they've really just excelled with this title. They've based it in sort of the north of England, racing around inside of the UK, as well as into Scotland and around the Edinburgh area, and we explored a little bit of that in our Let's Play and chat yesterday. And once I started to drive around on the streets of Edinburgh is when I really started to fall in love with this game. Of course, they got me with the James Bond cars that you can download as part of the expansion pass. It doesn't come included for free. You have to pick that up. And Xbox Canada was very nice, and they sent me the VIP version of the game, which is probably a little bit pricier. I would say probably it's closer to $100 than the regular sticker price. So I got some extra cars, but they knew I was fired up about the James Bond stuff, as probably every racing fan is out there. Is it worth it because you get to drive these James Bond cars? The extra price? For me, it would be, absolutely, because these cars are modeled so beautifully, and when you're in the sort of picture mode, the Forza, I forget what they call it, Forza Vista mode, I think, you can sort of activate all the widgets and levers and things like that that the Bond cars have, so you can sort of see those models, whether you've got the Aston Martin DB5 or the Lotus Esprit or whatever. You can't pull that off in the gameplay, at least not yet. Maybe there's going to be some kind of content update where you've got some James Bond mode in there. You can also wear James Bond clothing on your avatar, but really, you don't need to fall in love with the James Bond stuff to fall in love with this game. It's a tremendous add-on, but the core of this experience is just so damn fun. And the Forza franchise is really nailing it, because you get the kind of streamlined track-by-track simulation of the regular Forza Motorsport series, and Horizon is a balls out, anything goes. You race against giant hovercraft, you race against trains. There's this off-road race where you're racing against a bunch of motorcycles. There's a lot of busting ass through forested areas and off-roading and stuff like that. And I would say to Playground that as cool as it is for James Bond to be a licensed participant in this recent entry, it's really time for you guys to work with the Mad Max franchise, because you spend so much time just busting through fences, and in this one a lot of like stone walls. I'm just blasting through stone walls like crazy in this thing. But you're off-roading a ton, not only in the races, but when you're off looking for those little barn exclusives, these hidden vehicles that have to be fixed up and re-outfitted so you can take them out on the road. You also spend a ton of time in this game not racing in the auction house, where you're bidding on cars. Sometimes they're super rare, and you're trying to sneak in a bid just before the auction is over, so you can get these cars at a lower price point, which is cool. You have the in-game currency, the credits in there that you unlock by achieving certain goals and getting a certain amount of influence. You also get another form of currency if you start doing a lot of the Forza Live events and the sort of the Horizon sort of special events, which are all sort of set up to get you to play with other people, which is great. I mean, that gives you a chance to win on super rare vehicles as well. You can also purchase stuff in the game, like treasure maps and things like that that will take real money if you want to do that. But you know what? I found myself just through playing this for the 10 or 15 hours or so that I've played now, I've unlocked 75 cars. I spent tons of time on the auction block. I've attempted to do some of my own custom sort of decal work, and I was trying to make my own EPN logo. There's no way to take a picture and upload stuff. You have to make everything using the very smart editors that they have in there, which is really cool. And some of the custom liveries that you can download to your vehicles are just outstanding. So you spend a lot of time in menus menus and looking through everything. And I have to tell you, it's a little overwhelming, just like it was in Forza Horizon 3, but there is so much depth in there. The auction stuff is fun. Purchasing the vehicles is fun. You know, finding the secrets, the barn vehicles is awesome. Finding the signs that you can blast through. There's fast travel signs, and there's also influence signs that are scattered all over the place. The showcase events are crazy fun. The off-road events are crazy fun. There's a whole story in here which sees you play this kind of vehicular stunt person, and you're constantly challenged with getting from point A to point B. You know, and one of the ones that I like the most was I had this classic 90-year-old racing car that I wasn't able to damage, and you know me and those stone walls. I kept trying to not hit those stone walls in my 90-year-old, you know, racing car, and get to, you know, the finish line in time. So you make that shot, and they've got cranes and stuff like that, and a director telling you to go, step on it, step on it. Loved all of that. It's also probably the most beautiful open world console experience I played. You know, I obviously haven't had tons of time to play a lot of open world games on a super maxed out PC out there and done sort of the head-to-heads out there. It only runs at 30 frames per second in 4K, and it does go at 1080p, and I checked it out. I tried both just to see you know, what I liked better. I preferred the higher resolution to the faster frame rate, but the faster frame rate still includes some HDR in there. I just couldn't handle a little bit of the aliasing and the jagginess in the background, but the 4K at 30 was just gorgeous. It was beautiful, and I think they had to keep it at 30 because it is so robust and open world, and you can go off in so many directions, and it's just outstanding. I loved all of the little goofy mini cars that you could pick up and the trucks, and this is a game that just celebrates the fun of racing and getting there. You know, it's not so much about, you know, having to get to the supercars and having to be the ultimate super badass fastest racer out there. It's more about just having a good time, and it constantly engages you. You can also get into, you know, online adventures. You can get into co-op races and sort of create your own team. There is just a bounty of rewards. The amount of stimulation and sort of bravo and kudos, and also acknowledgement to you know, other previous racing experiences that are out there. Certainly this evokes a lot of Test Drive Unlimited. It's just a wonderful game, and I just cannot believe how talented those folks are and how impressive Forza has become you know, with this, you know, massive investment that Microsoft has put into this franchise over the years, but it's just so goddamn good. I love Forza Horizon 4. Is it better than 3? Well, 3 knocked me on my ass because of surprise. You know, I think that this is a better game because they added all of the stuff that 3 has, plus a whole bunch more, and it's also juiced visually as well because the Xbox One X hardware was something that the developers could all work off of, and obviously they up-resed 3, but it was engineered for the very first sort of launch Xbox One. What I think is so impressive about this, and I don't know if it's, you know, you have to give a lot of value in the shock you with, you know, its bounty of, you know, Forza Horizon 3. But what I think is so impressive about this is that it doesn't undermine the value of 3. It doesn't sort of say, well, you don't need that anymore. It almost makes you want to go back and explore the Australian landscape of Forza Horizon 3, which is remarkable. This is your, you know, your northern UK kind of trip and visit, and the seasonal stuff is all wonderful as well. It's really hard to stay on the road in the wintertime, but the autumn track and the spring tracks and the summer stuff, I mean, it all looks beautiful. But yeah, you are definitely challenged when you're in the snow. So it's hard for me to quantitatively say or just fully say that I like this much better than 3 because it didn't shock me the same way, but I love it. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.